This is Saturday, September 25th. There are 297 days until San Diego Comic-Con 2022 and 62 days until Comic-Con Special Edition. Welcome to SDConCast, the official podcast of the San Diego Comic-Con Unofficial Blog.
VANUHTEE go. Oh my God, I love LiveJournal and my LiveJournal loves me. Current mood is hyperactive. Current music, Refuse 73. I love the color scheme. It's pink and purple.
Good morning / afternoon, wherever you are. I am your host, James Riley, and joining me on the podcast, as always, Carrie Dixon.
Hey guys, thanks so much for joining us.
And joining us for this special podcast, Erin Tapkin.
Hi, everybody. It's awesome to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
All right, so this is our special edition, Comic-Con Special Edition registration podcast. We'll be live for the next hour or so, maybe, depending on the sale, with live coverage of the badge sale. We'll take comments and questions during the show. You can tweet us at SD_comic_con, or you can use the hashtag SDConCast. We'll also be keeping an eye on the YouTube live chat if you wish to comment there. First up, let's talk about Comic-Con Special Edition. Carrie, why don't you kick us off with some details?
All right. Well, I was going to talk about this anyway, but we have a reader question, so I'm actually going to answer this anyway. Rom V asked if they're not using registration codes for this sale, is the email to the link to buy unique, or is it the same for everyone? It is not unique, and there are no registration codes. So the sale is a little bit different than usual. Like I said, there's no registration code this time. When you get through to purchase, when you are selected by the Cheerio after it randomizes all of us, normally you would like fill in on one page like your 3 member IDs, and it would verify them all on the same page. On this, it'll be slightly different. You will actually have to add people one at a time. The inventory also does not mention that it's being held in a normal San Diego Comic-Con badge sale that we've done like these that have utilized the waiting room. It always says like the inventory is being held for 15 minutes. It does not say that, but there's only one badge type here. There are no single days. It is 3-day badges only for $150 if you are just a normal adult, or it is $75 if you qualify for the junior badge, senior pricing, or active duty military. But yeah, because there's only one badge type, it won't sell out until literally the entire thing sells out. And honestly, I'm not so sure that we think it's going to sell out today. Based on the way that hotels are going, I think this is going to be a nice, easy sell. I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, they had a few issues with pro registration earlier in the week, but hopefully that was the beta test for the system, and they worked out the bugs and everything works fine now. And since it's been mentioned in the chat a couple of times, I would like to say happy birthday, Carrie. It's a day late, but at least the sale wasn't on your birthday.
That's right. I thought for sure it was going to be. So thank you, CCI, for waiting one whole day. And thank you for everybody else for the happy birthdays.
That was their gift to you.
Yes.
This one time.
They gave me a 1-day reprieve from working.
That's right.
Yeah, thank you.
So let's talk a little bit, because we asked for some questions during the week and we got a few. So first up, let's talk about eligibility. Who can buy a ticket and how does it affect your Comic-Con badge if you have one for 2022?
So we have had so many questions about this. So let me just reiterate again, unless you physically emailed Comic-Con International and said, hey, I want to transfer my San Diego Comic-Con 2022 badge, which was really the 2020 badge that you purchased that has just kept rolling. Unless you physically emailed them and said, hey, I want to transfer that badge to November, your Comic-Con badge is safe. It automatically rolls over to 2020, and purchasing a badge today does not affect that. It's a totally separate thing. If you just buy a regular badge to today instead of transferring it, congratulations, you get to go to both.
So that's really good, because that means they are kept completely separate unless you took the act of emailing them about transferring your badge from Comic-Con to Comic-Con Special Edition.
Yes.
And hopefully you'd remember that. I think you'd remember that.
Yes. If you do not remember doing that, odds are very, very high that you did not do that, or you have a short-term memory loss problem and you should probably see a doctor.
Search your email. So now that that's out of the way, let's talk about one of the things that they did that is a bonus for going to Comic-Con Special Edition, which is 2023 Comic-Con in San Diego in July. You actually get to go into the returning registration sale, which is usually only open to previous year Comic-Con attendees. So they're basically counting Comic-Con Special Edition as a Comic-Con 2022 attendee for 2023 returning registration.
But note, it is 2023, not 2022.
Yes, because 2022 is all sold out. 2022 at this point is completely sold out because really it's all the 2020 badges that were sold way back in the fall of 2019. I realized that was like forever ago, but because those badges have kept rolling, 2022 is all sold out. If they do have additional badges available for 2022, odds are very high that they will like do auctions on eBay for the museum or something again like that, because it won't be many that are still available. So you would be, if you purchase a badge for today, you would be eligible for returning registration in 2023, like James and Aaron said. The other question that we've been asked is like, if you already have an SDCC 2022 badge, are you still eligible for SDCC 2023 returning registration? As far as we are aware, yes. I would be truly shocked if they were like, well, actually, you only went to Comic-Con and not November. So no, you can't come back to Comic-Con next year. I don't think they will do that. And if you purchase a badge today and you are already an SDCC 2022 badge holder, I don't think it's like you're going to get two chances now at returning registration for 2023. I think that basically the system will look at you and go, did you have a badge for one of these two events or both? Doesn't matter. You are eligible. Not like you are eligible twice, just you are eligible next. So we really don't think if you already have a 2022 badge that is an extra bonus for you today. This is mostly for the people who have struggled for years to get a Comic-Con badge or who just didn't have a 2022 badge for whatever reason. Now you've got a little bit of an extra chance for 2023. So it's a cool perk. But like I said, for a lot of our, especially like people who listen to this, who go every year, this is not for you, it's for other people. The downside of this is that unfortunately that does mean that more people will be eligible for returning registration for 2023. And that means that everyone's chance of getting a badge will go down a little. We won't know how much it goes down because CCI will never release those numbers to tell us like, hey, of our attendance of however many they have for this, we think it'll be around WinterCon numbers for around 60,000 people. We won't know how much crossover there already was. But yeah, your chances will go down slightly. So that does suck a little, but it's a cool perk for the other people.
So another thing we need to talk about is the member ID. When you're putting it in for you or whoever else you're buying for, it may be case sensitive. So basically, I think what you need to do is just check on the member ID page on the Comic-Con site, see how it's written, and basically copy that.
Yeah.
Because some people typed it in all in caps at some point. Some people use both. So just copy that. Make sure you have it set. If you're doing it for someone else, tell them to copy and paste it or to take a screenshot of their member ID as shown on the site so that you can get it exact.
Yeah. So the reason that I'm saying this is because during professional registration the other day, the whole system went down for about 45 minutes. But when it did come back up, we had several people tell us like, even after it came back up, it still took me a couple of tries of like trying all lowercase, trying all capital before it would go through. Now, maybe it really wasn't back up when they were trying. I wasn't there, so I can't tell you. But it doesn't hurt. And it might help. So I would at least check.
And we have 5 minutes to go until the sale starts.
Yeah. So James, do you want to talk a little bit about what's going to happen here in 5 minutes?
So what's going to happen is the site will refresh the page to the actual sale site. But what's going to happen is they're going to take everybody and they're going to gather them all up into one big bunch of everyone who's registered and then randomize you and start letting you in to purchase badges in groups. So you're just basically going to sit like you're waiting right now. You're going to wait again unless you get in one of the early groups. And then as you go through, you will then be able to purchase. And in that purchase, you will be able to buy up to 3 badges for you and or someone else. You can buy 3 badges for someone else. That's not a problem. And then we'll just go through the sale, and there will be those little yellow bars of messages for updates on how it's going. And I think that's about it. I don't think we're really expecting any issues or anything out of the blue on this sale.
That's the hope. Like I said, they did have some not really minor, but fairly major issues on professional registration the other day. But hopefully they got all of that out of the way. Hopefully today's sale will be quick and easy. Cavi Warrior in the chat said, my girlfriend has never gone to San Diego Comic-Con. She had horrible luck the last few years. I'm hoping to use this to get into returning registration like the rest of my group. Those are the kinds of people that extra added bonus of you would be eligible for returning registration. Those are the people who it would be great for.
Yes.
So, yes.
I mean, when we do these registration podcasts in the years past, which remember, this is the first one in 2 years. There's always someone posting in the chat that, they've been trying for 6 years or 10 years and have never been able to go. And this is just that little extra bonus to go. I mean, it's a bit of a steep bonus because you're paying $150 for a badge, and you may only go for 1 day, so it's a bit expensive for that chance, but some people it's worth it because they really want to go to Comic-Con in July.
Yep, definitely. Well, and also we should mention again, so we've had a lot of people ask if they can just purchase like a Friday or Saturday badge for this. It is 3 days or nothing. They are not doing single day badges. I mean, if this sells like abysmally today, I'd suppose that there's a chance they could change their mind later on, but that's clearly not the plan. It's clearly not what they want to do. And I would certainly not count on it. Yeah.
I noticed in the live chat too that Damien Shaw mentioned that he was looking at the source code, and it looks like the page will tell us where in the queue we are and how many people are ahead of us. So
let's hope so. I miss those days.
Nice. It'd be nice if we could get a little indication of whether it's going to be, is it going to be 15 minutes? Or is it going to be 2 hours?
I mean, we used to get that, if you recall, years and years ago.
So James Binder had a good point, which we've talked about internally, is it may not sell out today, but could, because the hotels really aren't a great judge, because a lot of locals, now that there's a con that they can get tickets to, may decide to buy tickets versus having to stay at a hotel. So the badge sale may go faster than the hotel sale because of that.
I do agree with that. I think this is going to be a fairly easy sale today. I think it's going to be like WonderCon. I mean, WonderCon sells out like a couple days. A couple days before. Sometimes Saturday will sell it like a week or two before, but I just don't get too stressed about this.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath. I think it's going to be okay.
Anytime there's a line or a countdown, we're all going to get stressed.
Oh, absolutely.
But mitigate it with the knowledge that, it's not that stressful. It's not July Comic-Con. It's November Comic-Con, and I don't think it's going to be the same thing.
No, I do not think this is going to be a bloodbath. So again, deep breaths. But yes, fingers crossed for everyone here. We're rooting for you guys. We are 25 seconds away from the great randomizing.
And please let us know in the live chat or on Twitter if you get in quickly. If you have problems, let us know. We'd like to hear about it.
Yes. So we are 10 seconds away. We're counting down, and it may not be instantaneous. Usually what happens is it takes a couple seconds here. Let's see.
It just changed to you are in the queue.
Yep.
We've got a little walking man here in a second. Some of our walking mans will speed walk. Some of them will stay very slow.
Mm.
Yep. When it is your turn.
The return of the dreaded walking man.
Yes, the walking man. It does say when it is your turn, you will have 5 minutes to enter the site. Please have your member ID and last name ready.
So you will need to enter a member ID and last name
when you are chosen.
When you're chosen.
But not before. It used to be with the registration code. You had to enter the registration code like before you could even get into the waiting room.
They are giving an estimated wait time on arrival into the website.
Yep. Some of mine say more than an hour. I've got 2 computers here.
I've got 44 minutes on mine.
I've got 9 minutes on one.
Ooh.
I've got 2 minutes.
Oh
wow.
my God.
James is our winner.
James has won.
Actually, no. In the chat, Mike Becker already got in.
Oh, congratulations.
Awesome. Congrats, Mike.
Wow. Good deal.
The good news too is like these will start speeding up as people like within their groups get in. Other people will start like exiting these, which means that it will go faster.
Yep.
We got somebody else. Somebody else is in. Stephanie.
Very nice. Damien's in. So you more than an hour, people. Don't stress. Like I said, I'm fairly certain. I feel confident, fairly confident that you will still get in. It might take a while, but I think you will get in. Yeah, so that's exciting. All right, so as people are starting to get in, let's talk about some of the other things related to Comic-Con Special Edition. So the hotels actually went up on Thursday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on Thursday. And if you need a hotel, this is your chance basically to live your best San Diego Comic-Con life. Because you can get any hotel you want for cheaper than San Diego Comic-Con. You want the Hard Rock, you want the Bayfront, you want Marriott Marquis, the Omni, you want something further out, whatever you want, like is still available and cheap. I sincerely wish San Diego Comic-Con had these prices.
Oh, wouldn't it be? It would be a game changer.
Yes. And this level of availability.
Oh, right. And just the process of going on and being like, where do I want to stay and being able to pick.
Yes. I do want to mention though, for those who are picking further out hotels, unlike with San Diego Comic-Con, this November convention will not have shuttles. So if you are staying in Mission Valley or anywhere else, there will not be a shuttle. There will be a parking sale through ACE. Details and date are still TBA, but we did confirm with ACE that there will in fact be a parking sale. So for you locals and also you people who are going to have to drive in now from your Mission Valley hotels because there is no shuttle, there will be a parking sale. So keep an eye out for that. Lots of people getting in.
I am in, so I will be back in a minute.
Go for it.
I've seen no glitches. I've seen nobody reports any issues or problems yet. So that's
which is wonderful.
Wow.
We love that. Okay, so April Ludgate one asked, so is it really more than an hour, maybe less? I think it will probably be less for a lot of people. So like I said, as everybody with Comic-Con works in a group, so if one person in your group gets through and is able to purchase badges for all of you, let's say there's a group of 3 of you, then the other 2, might close the chat and then that will speed things up. But I mean, it might be more than an hour. But I still would not stress too much, even if it might take an hour.
Mine's going a little faster. At first, it said 11:42 was my arrival time, and it's actually gone down from there.
Okay. That's good. All right. Helena got hers. Brian McCoy got his. That's awesome.
To answer, LJ has a question. Yes, the price is the same across the board. It's going to be $150 for the 3 days again, unless you are a junior or active military or a senior, then it's $75. But yes, $150, 3 days. There's no single day options.
Yes, that is correct. That is correct. We've had a lot of people ask us what is going to be at this convention. We don't have great yet because we don't really know. Comic-Con gave a sneak peek of some of the vendors that will be there this year, which was really nice. If you haven't had a chance to look at that, that is up on their Toucan blog. They mentioned Bandai Bluefin, Upper Deck, some other fun people. They mentioned Funko, but they said that Funko will have exclusives, and that does not necessarily imply that they will have a physical booth.
It was very it was very curiously worded.
Yes.
It did not specifically say Funko will have a booth. It just said exclusives will be available.
Yes.
Which could mean so many things.
It could mean anything. Now, I did talk to Bandai Bluefin, and they are planning on having a booth. They were also mentioning that they will have exclusives for this convention. But again, with Funko, considering that they pulled out of physically attending New York Comic Con a month earlier, I would not totally count them in for having a physical booth. But that, I mean, who knows what they'll do? They could still do exclusives, but just virtually. The exclusives could mean that like they do another toucan for the museum, like they've done in the past, and maybe that toucan is just sold through the museum booth. There's a whole lot of different possibilities for how that could all play out. But like I said, Funko will have some form of exclusives for the convention. We just don't 100% know if they will be physically at the convention. So
we've had some questions about the vaccination proof requirements. And if they're
yes. Yes. So you have to bring proof of your vaccination, or you have to bring a negative test every day from the last 72 hours. And the negative test, I think, actually it can't be like one of the at-home tests. You have to go and like physically get it somewhere and have someone sign off and bring your paperwork, that kind of thing. All of that information can be found both on Comic-Con's site, or you can go to the Convention Center website, because the Convention Center guidelines is actually basically exactly what San Diego Comic-Con, or what Comic-Con Special Edition is following. And actually, the Convention Center website has more information than even CCI did. So I definitely recommend going to check that out. All right. We've got Night Bodega asked, does a picture of my vaccination card work as proof? Go look at what it says. I feel like you may have to actually bring the physical card, but go look and see whatever CCI's wording was. It's all in their FAQ. All right, let's see here.
Okay, so something that's a little funky is when you validate a member down at the bottom, when you click to purchase a badge, it says it's free. But then when you click that, it adds the $150 plus the $850 processing fee into the cart. On the final shopping cart, it has a line for Comic-Con Special Edition with the badge number and the dates and all of that with the pricing. And then a second section that says adult badge, item total free. So it's like some kind of double item thing where they had to have a ticket and a badge. I'm not sure, but just be aware, it's one thing's going to say free, but there's actually going to be the $150 price.
Okay, I'm in, so I'm going to go now.
That means I have to talk.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
Can we entertain?
Had we talked about badge refunds?
No, we have not talked about badge refunds.
Okay, so if you need to get a refund, the deadline is November 8th, so that's only like 6 weeks away. So basically, if you want to buy a badge now and then things don't work out for you, something happens, then you can just get it canceled a few weeks before the convention itself.
That's a nice, generous deadline there.
Yes.
Thankfully.
Let me cross these out because that one's done and that one's done. So I'm actually having to do our little thing here because I got some badges for people. That's the thing about buying groups is you got to make sure everyone's on top of things and you don't try and enter in things that aren't there anymore. So everybody should be good to go. It looks like it's going pretty quick. Some of the ones that we had that said more than an hour still say more than an hour. But we're not seeing anyone that
I'm not seeing any issues as of yet.
right.
Just want to reiterate that yes, even if you have 2022 tickets rolled over from 2020, you can still purchase these badges. They will have no bearing on your 2022 tickets. I saw that JG in the live chat was asking.
The processing fee is not 10%, it's just $8.50 per badge. So if you buy 3 badges, it's going to be, $25.50 in fees. So the total per badge is $158.50. Other than that, the process was fairly simple. You can enter in someone complete, like if you're buying for 3 other people and you're going to be paying, you can put in your payment information. You don't have to use any of the 3 people you're buying for. And then you can just, if it's a buying group where you know everybody, then you can just, however you get the money from them later on, you can get the money from them. We've all done these badge sales before. We know all the buying group stuff.
And yesterday we had Comic-Con did a little sneak peek of some of their special guests. Presumably they'll have more waves of special guest announcements, but they did give us a little sneak peek of 3 of the special guests, which were all comic related, which makes me wonder if this is going to be more of a comic focused rather than a entertainment or media, television and movie heavy focused.
We've been saying all along that we don't expect a San Diego Comic-Con, expect something more similar to WonderCon, which is much more artist, exhibitor, and cosplay based, with a bunch of panels as usual, but it just doesn't have the extreme heavy media presence of studios and TV and movies. So there will be some, I'm assuming. I just would not expect the level that Comic-Con in July has. So, I mean, there's a lot of factors in that, the ongoing pandemic, the weekend it's on, just all of these different things are gonna roll into why it's not going to be similar to Comic-Con. Plus, they just don't have the space like they would for Comic-Con. I think that some of the local things are just not as open at the time as they would be for that. Did we talk about parking at all? Yeah.
Yes, Carrie mentioned that
Okay.
Ace will be having a parking sale. They did confirm that for us. I think they're working on details.
Yes.
So-
And I would expect that to be, obviously closer to the convention. So sometime in October,
Yes.
later in the month, probably.
Do you
But I'm
have
not
any?
seeing-
Do you have any indication or any thoughts about if they're going to be using the full convention center?
I don't know. I mean, I think they are because they're doing. Now, this is if you read the information about badge pickup, they're doing badge pickup in Hall H, which should give you an indication of whether or not they're going to be using that at least on the first day. They can't use it on the second day because a lot of people may not show up until Saturday when they would still be doing badge pickup in Hall H. So right there is an indication of whether they're going to do any Hall H panels. They're not, because they're using it for badge pickup. That's also an indication that they may not be using the top floor for as many things. They may be using it for panels and that's it. And therefore they have to put all of the stuff out there for panels and for other things on the sales that they would normally do. They haven't done badge pickup in quite a while, and in the level that they used to back when, the on-site badge pickup was possible. So, I mean, I would expect that we're just going to see everything scaled down, except the line to get your badges, which is now going back up. They did make a point of saying that if you're local or in the area, that they will offer early badge pickup on both Tuesday and Wednesday for select hours, if you want to avoid any of the lines on Friday or Saturday. And it looks like Carrie is back.
Yes, I'm back. Sorry.
How was your experience?
Good, good. Nice and easy. I mean, like we said, James may have already said literally everything I'm about to say, but it is slightly different in that you have to validate one person at a time and then click add to cart. But that is why we stress that you need to read the purchase instructions before today. So,
Whew.
ooh,
Well, that was actually fairly painless.
Wow, 15 minutes and we've already got a lot of people through.
yeah, yeah. And so again, as people finish and get through, other people will be leaving these chats. In fact, I think we're all done, so I'm closing mine. That means that for everybody else who's waiting, your time should speed up.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I had one that I think originally had a time for about 50 minutes, and now it's cut that time down about 20 minutes. I'm just watching them to see how fast they go versus the time that they actually said originally. Wow, this may be over by 11:30.
Told you before we started, I was like, I think this is going to be a real fast, painless badge sale, which is awesome. Yes. Honestly, it's exactly what we want to have happen. We like it when people are happy.
And to answer this question in the live chat again, yes, it is all 3 days, only all 3 days. You do not have a choice of days.
Yep. So again, for you people who are still at like an hour, or I don't know if there's still anybody who's more than an hour, but if you are, don't panic. We really and truly think that you're still going to get through. And honestly, we don't think it's going to take quite as long as what it lists either. So
right.
Deep breaths. It's going to be okay. They're basically just I'm sure they're doing what they always do, where they just let people in slowly.
And the knowing how long you have to wait is quite nice.
Yeah. Hey, James.
Just for planning.
Hey, James, you got Andy, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Sir Lister is wondering what we think about social distancing at the main event next summer.
I mean, I don't really think there's going to be social distancing. I think pretty much what they're doing now is probably what they'll be doing, if anything, next year. I think it'll be you have to wear a mask the entire time, which I don't think we mentioned earlier when we were asked about vaccination. Yeah, so you have to wear a mask the entire time. I think vaccinations or proof of a negative test, or maybe even just vaccinations, who knows, will be required. But I mean, with 130,000 attendees, you can't really social distance.
There's the building's only so big, which has been the problem for a long time, why more people can't attend, and attendance has been capped. And if they had some people who canceled their tickets, I can't think it's more than a few thousand people. So maybe they'll have a few thousand less, but that's still going to be impossible to put 6 feet of distance between everybody.
So just as a frame of reference, I'm going back to Disneyland again. Yay, got my badges for Disneyland. And they have a very simple rule, which is outside no mask, inside mask required. And it doesn't seem like it's an issue, and we don't hear of any problems coming from Disneyland of anything spreading. So it seems like it's working just fine. And I'm pretty sure that as we go through the convention center, everyone will be fine just wearing a badge while they're inside. And those who have any issues will just step outside to take the mask off. And I don't foresee that being an issue for most people.
No, and I mean, it's not even like this is just a rule like at Comic-Con. I mean, just about every convention that is happening right now like has these same or very, very similar rules, at least for the foreseeable future, until when or if we ever get out of this.
When or if
that ever happens. These are the rules for the foreseeable future. Yeah, I think that's pretty much where we're at.
Oh, I see Karen Sessions said they have had a group of 41 people and everybody got in.
Whoa.
So 20 minutes and they all got in. That's yes. Pretty great.
Yes.
That's wonderful to hear. Ooh, somebody's asking about an unofficial blog after party.
I don't think there won't be. I mean, there's not going to be for November. For San Diego Comic-Con, yes, there will be. We've thrown around the ideas of making it Gary themed, if you guys like that idea. But yeah, no, for November, there will not be.
Yep. And we were just talking a little bit ago about the badge pickup being in Hall H, and
Yes.
we just want to reiterate there is no badge mailing.
No,
Only
for
pickup.
anyone. Yep.
For anybody. You have to pick up the badge on location when you show up.
Yep.
Which is why if you're local, go down on Tuesday or Wednesday and pick it up early so you don't have to wait in that line.
Yes.
No, I wouldn't stress the line too terribly much. They are so good at it. Even the days that I've picked up on Wednesday. It's so fast. Of course they make you like go up the escalator and around. I mean, they keep you walking, which maybe they can't do if they're doing in pick up in a Hall H.
In Hall H, yeah.
But they do have so many stations that I've never actually waited in line
Right.
for more than 60 seconds.
Yeah. At
It's just
WonderCon,
walking.
it's never,
It's walking through the queue.
yeah, at WonderCon, when we did badge pickup, it was never a problem because except for the one time they had, I think that one year they had an issue with the system and it bogged down and it was not good. So the only thing that will delay anything is if there's a problem with the system itself.
Yeah.
But there still will be a lot of people showing up. I think on Saturday, I think that's actually going to be worse than Friday because I think a lot of people may not come into town until Saturday.
Okay, so Ray just asked in the chat, I didn't see the choice where I could buy a senior ticket instead of an adult. I paid full price. Do you know of any way I could get a refund for the $75? So basically, yeah, so it just gives you whatever price is like assigned to your member ID. So if you are if you are in the age range where you should qualify for senior pricing, just use your member ID. There's a contact button in there. Click that, contact CCI. I mean, they may ask to see like your driver's license. They may not, but just email them and let them know like, hey, I purchased a badge. I should be eligible for a senior rate. Can you help me? And they will. So. This is a good question. I don't know the answer, unfortunately, though. Kronos2611 asked, anyone not in the US or Canada been able to buy? Seems they are the only country listed for billing. And it may be that that's all that can buy, because I think right now those are the only two countries where people can come into the US right now. At least until some point in November when we are supposed to actually open up borders for some other countries.
And Beach City Bum, just to answer your question, this will not give you returning registration for 2022. 2022 is already sold out by everybody who rolled their badges over from 2020. So again, this will only give you returning registration for 2023.
Yeah, so Raven Teen Titan Gamer 2 and 3 said, I hope they use this new waiting room for 2023. We have heard through the grapevine that this is their new system moving forward. So I hope we get it too. I've always missed being able to see my place in line. that was the worst part about the old system. So let's hope they keep this.
And Andre White is asking about guests. We've only had a sneak peek of 3 special guests. They were all comic related. I think we had Kevin Eastman, Dustin Nguyen, and Sam Meggs, all comic industry folk. Those are the only 3. That was what they called the sneak peek of their special guests. So presumably we'll have their usual wave of guests at least to release.
So Zeke said, I'm still waiting. I've never attended Comic-Con San Diego. I've attended WonderCon several times. So if I get this badge would be awesome. So first of all, I don't think anybody is going to walk away empty-handed today who wants a badge. But as we've said before, if you get a badge today, you will also now be eligible for returning registration for San Diego Comic-Con 2023, which if you don't know what that is, There are 2 badge sales for San Diego Comic-Con. There's a returning registration with less people, which means your chances are better. And then there's an open registration for anyone. So that means, first of all, you have 2 chances. And the first time you have better odds than the second. So that.
Yep. Scott brings up I wonder how they will do the line queues on site for checking badges, ID tests, and then vaccination tests or proof of vaccination. I mean, honestly, they really should have separate lines for if you have vaccination, you need to get just approved and get your badge, and ones where you have to show that you have proof of test, because it feels to me like if you just have your vaccination card or a picture of it on your phone, that's going to be pretty simple, show it and move on, versus a test that they have to take a second to look at to make sure it's the right kind of test, that, you know, and all the information that's on it. So, I mean, I would, if it was me and planning it, I would have a separate line, you know, for tests versus vaccination, proof of vaccination. But I don't think that's going to add too much time to the wait, because they will be fairly efficient and they will have 50 to 100 stations for checking and then giving you your badge and moving on. So they will be able to process a lot of people at a time.
And if anybody who's listening right now is in the chat and who has been to a convention here in the last, month or 3, feel free to chime in and let us know like what your experience was. Because like I said, almost all conventions right now have very similar guidelines and restrictions similar to what Comic-Con's doing. Somebody asked, I just saw
we
this
do have
question.
some questions about if there'll be an open registration for 2022, which we do not think that they'll do.
No, it's because badges already sold out for 2020. So any additional available inventory would be only from the people who have done refunds. And I just don't think there's going to be that many people who've done refunds. I'm sure there might be some, but especially like, I don't think it's going to be enough for them to warrant a whole other sale.
Yeah, I think it'll be negligible at best. And like you said earlier, they'll use any of those badges to sell in for museum auctions.
Yes.
Or fundraising opportunities.
Yeah. So Joe asked, got my badges, but I only have a hotel from on peak Friday and Saturday with a Sunday checkout. Is that a bad idea? Not at all. Not at all. Every hotel there will, if you just go downstairs Sunday morning and say, hey, I'm checking out, here's my bag, will you hold it? They will hold your bag until you come back. Like, this is very normal occurrence, not even just Comic-Con week, but in the real world with any hotel. So there's no problem whatsoever with that. Sir Lister of Smeg asked, do you think with the influx of extra eligible people returning registration in 2023 will be significantly harder? We don't know. We don't know how many extra people will be eligible. We don't know how many of those extra people will even want to go to San Diego Comic-Con. So we don't know.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to have an impact, but as for how much of an impact, literally no one can tell you the answer to that, unfortunately.
Except Comic-Con, and they won't say.
No, Comic-Con is going to be the only people who know like how many extra people were added to that pool. Nobody else will ever know. Let's see here. And
just as a reminder, badges will not be shipped. We had another question about that. They will not be shipped. They will be pickup only. The reasoning behind that, I suppose, has to do with the very truncated timeline that we're working on, and the fact that the USPS system isn't super reliable right now.
Yep.
It's probably also a cost saving measure for them.
Yeah. So going back to earlier when we were talking about how the vaccination checks are going to work, Kendall said they may check your driver's license to make sure it matches the vaccination card shown. New York Comic-Con is doing that. Jennifer said, I've seen it operate smoothly at concerts. I saw another comment. Jerry said a line for vaccinated versus tested is what Dragon Con is doing, or did. I think Dragon Con already happened. Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to answer this question just because I want to. James asked Carrie, what movie is the Christmas sweater behind you from? It is from The Night Before, which is a stupid Seth Rogen movie, but that is actually the sweater that Joseph Gordon-Levitt wore in the movie.
I was hoping you would answer that question.
Yep. Joe asked, anyone know volunteer status for 2022? I assume returning volunteers are in. I qualified as a new volunteer for 2020, but I haven't heard status for that group. I don't think they've told volunteers anything yet for 2022. It's just too early. I mean, they're really focused on November right now. So
yeah, I would expect everything for 2022 to happen at their normal timeframes where, early bird hotels are sometime at the beginning of the year, parking sales, hotel sales, all of that will happen when it normally happens, which is next year.
yes. Okay. So Samaya asked, I'm a little nervous with Delta and everything this fall. If I end up returning our tickets for November, will we still have eligibility for returning registration 2023 still? I'm assuming probably not. I would also assume probably not. If you purchase badges for November, but then you later return them, I would assume that they would be like, no, you don't get eligibility, because that's what they do with San Diego Comic-Con, is if you cancel your badge, like you lose returning registration, which is why we always tell people to keep one day. All right. Andy confirmed no volunteer news for 2022.
And it looks like everyone who, if you're purchasing for other people, your registration email will go to the person who purchased it. If you put in your email, and an email should be sent to each of the people you bought for.
A bunch of people in the chat right now are saying that their times all just increased about 10 minutes. So that's weird. But again, I wouldn't worry. It may just be like maybe they're letting in less people at a time right now for I don't know what reason, but maybe they are. But again, don't panic. Yeah.
No panicking allowed.
No panicking. All right. So let's go over some things. Again, we talked about this all earlier in the show, but let's talk about it again. Hotels are currently available. So if you need one, literally every hotel is still available for all nights. So you can go and get whatever hotel you want for a really good price, less than San Diego Comic-Con prices. If you need a hotel,
less than their rack rates if you tried to go
yep,
get a room directly from them.
Yeah, so if you need a hotel, do it through this Comic-Con room block, because that is absolutely the way to go. There will not be shuttles for the hotels. So if you pick a further out hotel, keep that in mind. If that is the case, and you then need parking, there will be a parking sale. Details and date are still TBA, but we have confirmation that there will in fact be a parking sale through ACE. The exhibitors at the convention, Comic-Con gave a sneak peek. You can find that on the Toucan blog. And panelists just started hearing back their confirmations. So I think we will actually probably do I don't know what we're going to call it, but whatever our version of Under the Tents for this convention winds up being, we'll probably do one of those here in the next week or two. And you can see some of the panels. Then.
Do you think any of the panels will be virtual panels, or is it all going to be live? I noticed New York Comic-Con was doing some virtual panels.
Yeah, New York Comic-Con is actually doing a lot of virtual panels. I don't feel like that's what Comic-Con International is going to do. It feels much less in their wheelhouse. It feels much less them. I don't think that's what's going to happen. We will see. Now, we do want to reiterate, as we've said several times, considering, the pandemic and also Thanksgiving, we don't think there's going to be much Hollywood presence here. I think a lot of the panels will be smaller panels around comics and publishing and toys and all kinds of fun stuff, but I just wouldn't expect like a bunch of Hall H level panels.
If only due to the holiday weekend. Even if they felt safe,
Yes.
they may just not be available that weekend.
Yes, definitely. April asked, how many people do you estimate will attend? We really and truly think this convention is modeled after WonderCon, just for San Diego. And so everything that we have heard implies that it will be around the same attendance, which is around 60,000.
Tiffany asked the question, do you recommend specific hotels? And that is one of the most loaded questions because everybody has a favorite hotel.
Mhm.
Yes.
At this point, I would say any of the close ones that you may normally not be able to get through the regular Comic-Con sale if you've been going for a while. So like the Omni, the Hard Rock, the Bayfront, the Marriott Marquis, all of those are right next door or
Yeah.
right across the street and are all perfect hotels for attending the convention. Basically,
Yes.
anything that's close by is great. I mean, of course they are the more expensive ones, but they're all really great hotels.
And I'm going to read this one. Escapades with Ernie said, hey, Aaron, unrelated to today, but thanks for the hotel advice for SDCC 2022. You the best.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You are very welcome. It's searching for SDCC hotels is sort of one of my year-round events. I generally check them every week, once a week. So it was a nice surprise to see one of my favorite hotels on booking.com available for that week. So
Samya asked, could I pick up tickets for my whole group in person or do they have to be with me? They will have to be with you. Each person has to pick up their own individual badge. You can't pick up for anybody else. And that's also at some point somebody asked how we can cut down on badge transfers and things like that. And that is one of the ways that they do that is you have to prove you are a real person at the convention in order to pick up your badge.
wouldn't it be great if your vaccine status was tied to your badge? Like when you picked up your ticket, it was like tied to your chip inside your badge so you didn't have to show it every day.
Would be
That would be
wonderful.
amazing.
Man.
What a thing to dream about. Oh, I wish my vaccine status was.
I think
tied
you're
to my
only going to
badge.
check it on the day you pick it up, right? So
I don't know.
So if you
I
pick it
don't-
up on Friday, you should be able to, if you have the badge to walk in the door, you should not have to show vaccination status. They may have
Hmm.
something now for the test. If you get the test and you have it to prove that you have a negative test, do you have to do that each day?
It says you have to do it each day, which is why I'm like, it can't then be that like they just give you a badge and that means you've proven yourself because they say each and every day. I mean, it could be that they give you a sticker if you bring your vaccination card. It could be something like that, or they may check it every day. Yeah, for the test, you have to show that every single day.
Interesting.
Maybe they'll give that shiny sticker that they used to give for preview night. Get that.
Yeah, we like our stickers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The mock Phantom said, I chose the Weston gas lamp, was only $140 per night. Yeah, like these are great prices for great hotels. Again, really wish San Diego Comic-Con was these prices and this level of availability. Yeah.
I mean, the places like the Omni and such are still fairly expensive, but they're like $100 a night less than they are during Comic-Con still.
Kendall said some shows are giving you wristbands when your vaccination is checked, so you only need to do it once. That would also make sense. We know Comic-Con is very familiar with wristbands already.
And Night Bodega did check per the convention center site. You can show proof of vaccination via a photo. So
good.
That'll be a very helpful.
So that's one of the things to do before you leave. If you're planning on bringing your vaccination card, make sure you also take a photo of it and stick it in your favorites so you can find it easily after you've taken a billion photos walking through the convention or on your way to Comic-Con or whatever.
Yeah. Dragon Con was day of pickup of badges only for either vaccination or negative test. And maybe this will be the same, but the verbiage right now says you have to show it every single day.
And Todd asks if they have passes good for 2022. Does that guarantee access to 2023 return registration? And yes,
I mean, they have not like officially said that. Like,
that's true. We don't know if
they
they'll
have
be.
not. Yes, they have not officially said that, but I would be truly shocked. Like, I would be like, this is the craziest thing Comic-Con has ever done, and Comic-Con has done a lot of crazy shit. If they did not give 2022 people 2023 returning registration, so I don't think you need to worry about that.
Yeah. So
And buying tickets to this isn't going to increase your chances. You're not going to get 2 chances or double your chance. It's
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just not how their system works. Their system is basically like, are you eligible? Yes or no. So,
Todd mentioned about kids under 16 and whether they'll be exempt from the COVID vaccination
I
requirements.
think it's only kids under 12. Because aren't vaccination requirements, like, aren't kid vaccinations? I think 12-year-olds can get it. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Right. Yeah, it's whatever the current restrictions are.
Again, it's 12 and under.
which of course could be fluctuating. It's all going to depend on what's happening.
And
State of
actually,
California.
I just looked at the CCI FAQ. Does my child 12 and under need to show proof of a negative COVID-19 test? Yes. Your child's negative COVID-19 test documentation needs to be directly from the healthcare provider that performed the test, and the results must be obtained within 72 hours of attending Comic-Con Special Edition. So you will have to take your children as well to get a negative test.
Rob Nelson is reporting that it won't let him or his wife buy. Make sure you're checking that you're using, it's case sensitive. So make sure that you're using exactly what it says.
Yeah,
I think
so
that makes a difference.
it looks a little bit different. So after you put it in, towards the bottom, there's a like add to cart button. Click that. The only way that I think it like wouldn't let you purchase is if you have like a little red box that says like this was not validated. Yeah, let us know more about like what your specific issue is and maybe we can help.
Says he's at the buying stage and it keeps timing out.
That's not good.
So screenshot it, Rob. Make sure you screenshot what's going on, that you had your tickets in the cart and it was just something going wrong with the purchase. Now a little pop-up window pops up asking for the little 3-digit or 4-digit CVV number. Make sure that didn't get hidden or blocked or something for you being able to enter that. Because I noticed it popped up separate right above where I was purchasing. And if you have more than one window open, it may be blocking it.
Yep. Yeah.
And
So
I
far,
just
though,
went back and I entered the queue again to see how long, and
about an
it's
hour, right?
it's showing me 36 minutes is my
Really?
estimated wait time.
The last time
Yes.
I re-entered it about 15 minutes ago, it was at an hour.
An hour.
I'm just keeping an eye on it every few minutes and re-entering. So that means more and more people are closing their windows as they get one of them in, or one of their buying group gets in to get their tickets.
Yep. Yep. Dave asked, based on past experience, what's the rough line time for badge pickup? Well, first of all, this convention has never happened before. But I assume it'll be like WonderCon. And I feel like WonderCon, I feel like the worst WonderCon was ever been is like maybe an hour. Like
On a normal that they're not
day.
having issues, yes. So one thing to remember is that, as with anything else, the must be first kind of mentality is in play. So if you show up before the con opens, you're going to have to wait in some kind of a line, whether that's a 10-minute line or a 2-hour line. Depends on when they open versus how long it's taking to process all the people that did get in line before it opened. If you show up 10 minutes after the convention opens, there's a pretty good chance your wait's going to be almost nothing.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna take about as long as it takes you to walk the line to get there and then go through and then get it and then get out. And that's about the only amount of time it'll take. That's usually what happens if you show up anytime after the con opens. So if you don't have to be there first and you aren't showing up until one of the days of the convention, just wait until the convention opens, wander around outside for a few minutes and then go in when you feel like it. And, keep an eye on the Twitter feed, and, we'll be talking about the line, and how it's going. And so you can pay attention to that and go in when the line's short if you don't want to wait in line. If you don't mind waiting in line, head on over there early.
Yeah. James asked, are we under the impression that this is a one-off convention? I don't know. I would say that it depends on how well this convention does, is my answer. If it does well, I mean, CCI has done 3 conventions in a year before.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, they used to run the Alternative Press Expo up in the Bay Area.
Yep. So there is precedent for them doing 3 conventions in a year. So
and what they would do is, with a bit more of a lead time, they would of course be able to maybe move it away from Thanksgiving weekend, so that it doesn't have that
holiday
travel issue.
Yes, definitely.
But yeah, I mean, it's I don't see. I mean, I think it's just, let's see how it goes and what the response is, and maybe it's their way of getting the last big convention in it of the year, having it in late November, mid-November, or even into December. Because I think right now New York Comic Con is essentially the last major convention of the convention season, correct? Because that happens in October usually, doesn't it?
Yes, I think so. I think so. I think it's usually the last. Yeah, and I mean, the other thing is Comic-Con International is always talking about how they want to expand because their revenue is basically capped, and this would certainly be a way to make more money. So if it goes well, I could definitely see them doing it again. Raymond asked, what COVID test are they accepting home kits? They are not accepting home kits. It has to be from a healthcare professional, and you have to bring your paperwork.
And I saw that Zeke mentioned that they got tickets and it will be their first time attending. So that's perfect.
That's fun.
That's
You're gonna
fun.
have a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and James mentioned when to fly in. If you are flying into San Diego for the convention, recommended flying on Thanksgiving itself. And Carrie, when you looked up flights originally, you said that they were fine and cheap enough, but it's when you choose to go home that's the issue.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I am actually not going in November because I've had so many doggy health issues that I've been dealing with. But when I was thinking about going there, especially on Thanksgiving, because like the prices were all totally fine and super cheap. It was coming home on either Sunday or Monday that it was like twice the price of what it normally is. So yeah. If you are flying in, my condolences. Alicia said, I got a badge. This is the first time I've gotten a badge for SDCC in 7 years. I'm excited. It'll be small. It'll be just like old times. So again, these are absolutely the people who that returning registration bonus is amazing for. So Jalu3 said, I'm flying out on Tuesday or Wednesday, cheaper flights departing. Well, yeah, but then you have to pay for a hotel for another night. So it doesn't really wind up being cheaper. All right.
Yeah, and of course, the whole free thing has thrown a few people at the bottom when you're validating. So just reminder that free thing is just some weird thing they had to do with the system to get the badge to attach to the purchase. So the badges and purchases basically on 2 lines. So one of them will say free, which I think Sherwin is just asking about now in the chat. But yes,
it is confusing.
It's just something about the system. It's confusing, but each badge is $150 plus fee, and the free line is just saying, hey, you have a badge. We don't know why they did it that way, but you do have to pay, and there is nothing free.
Yeah. So Todd Siegel said, wouldn't it be fair to say that for 2023 returning registration, we will not have an extra 60K people to compete with for 2023 returning registration? No, it's actually not, because we don't know what the crossover is going to be. So anybody who currently has a 2022 badge and attends November, like, they are not adding to the pool. They are already part of the pool. So we don't know like how many people will be. The only people who will add to the pool are the people who will be attending November, but who did not already have a 2022 Comic-Con badge. And we don't know how many of those people there's going to be. I think there's going to be a lot of crossover for regular Comic-Con attendees who also wind up going to November. But again, Comic-Con International is the only one who will know the exact numbers and how much crossover there is. So we will never know, except anecdotal evidence, how those numbers change. Yeah. Hopefully that made sense.
It is a non-zero number, but
Yes.
it's not going to be 60,000 people.
No.
I would say it's going to reduce our chances of getting for 2023, probably somewhere in the 10 to 15% range. I think is probably a good estimate, but again,
it's still
it's all who knows.
And
All of
it is still whatever number it's going to be, it will be significantly better than an open registration, because an open registration years ago, they said they have like, what was it? It's like
it was
a million
nearly
people.
It was
Yeah.
just shy of 1 million.
Yeah. Almost 1 million people who try. So however many people are added.
That was just the people who hit the website in the first minute.
Yeah.
So,
and again, this was years ago, so there will be more now.
That was almost a decade ago.
Yeah. Yes. So however many people they add for returning registration, it will not be 1 million.
Right. Exactly.
Yes.
Julia 3 is mentioning the ACE parking site is just a toll-free number. Yes, there is no information on the ACE parking sale for Comic-Con Special Edition. That information will be coming soon, but it will be happening.
Yeah, they're still hammering out the date and all that jazz, but there will for sure be a sale, and we will let you know as soon as we know anything. Yeah.
I mean, all of my I have a window that's like down to like 11 minutes. That was an hour a while ago. So people are still getting in. They're still selling tickets. There has been no message that tickets are running low like they usually do for Comic-Con. So if you need a ticket, get in there and get your ticket. It may take a little while to wait in the queue, but you will be able to get in and get a ticket at this point, because they're not saying it's running low. At least it looks that way.
Juan asked, was there an option for mailing badges or only pickup? It's only pickup. They're not mailing badges for anybody for the sale. I mean, the time frame here is just, it's really tight. So they're not even bothering. So you got to pick it up.
And Acre 73 mentioned that they're working on their hotel room in Love's Coronado Island, taking a boat to the convention center. This is the convention where you would try that out, because you know, there's no need to rush and get to the convention center at 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that. So this would be the time to live it up.
Time to try out that favorite. If you always wanted to try the Hard Rock, now's a good time.
Yep.
If you always wanted to try the Residence Inn, now's the time. Although I don't know why you'd always want to try that.
I was going to say, if you really wanted to try the Motel 6 local downtown, now's your chance.
But, you know, maybe if you always wanted to try the Pendry or someplace like fancy, if you want to treat yourself because you haven't gone anywhere for the past 2 years.
There you go.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Treat yourself.
That's right.
That's right.
And chances are, if there are any Hollywood types coming up for it, they'll be staying probably at the Pendry. That seems
a nice
to be
hotel. Yeah.
That seems to be the one that they gravitate towards.
Yeah.
So if you log on now, the wait is only about 15 minutes.
That's so funny, James. That's what I was doing, was opening up another window to check. Yeah. So like I said, anybody who wants a badge today, I don't think you needed to worry. And I'm sure we still have a couple people waiting, but hopefully not many.
Angel asked if it's 150 for all days or per day. It's 150 for all 3 days.
Yeah,
It's the
they're
only
not.
ticket they're selling.
Yep, they're not doing single days at all.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's running smooth so far. We've had just those few issues. A few different people have mentioned the credit card issues, and I have a feeling it might be that CVV pop up that maybe they didn't see, or it's going to be if the credit card is not based in the U.S. or Canada, that may be part of the problem. There may be a few others, but again, screenshots whenever possible to make sure that you can, if you need to email Comic-Con about it, which you can contact them using the member ID page to get in there and send them an email and send them some be able to send them some screenshots that you were in and that you were trying to purchase.
Yes. And if it happened to you, honestly, like James just said, it's only like a 15-minute wait now. So I would just open up that window again and do it again. As much as that sucks, at least it's only 15 minutes and not another hour. So that's not so bad. Josh said the sale is over, but Comic-Con has not tweeted that, and the waiting room is still open. So I'm not sure I believe that. But we'll see.
Ronan asked, do we know how filled the con is going to be? Is there a limit to the number? We don't have any information about a limit, but we are guessing it's going to be somewhere in the 60-ish thousand range. Just based on the fact that they don't have as much space, I think, as they usually do.
Yeah. Zeke said, I went back in and it says 11 minutes. So there's still badges, or either letting me go back in because I still have a chance to purchase a third one. Probably. Yeah, I think it's still going.
Yeah, since the link is not tied to a registration code, you'll be able to get in just by clicking on the link in your member ID or in the email, but it won't tell you if you have a badge available to purchase for a particular member ID until you put that in and try and validate it.
Yeah. So Rodrigo said he had to use an American address. I think you're in Mexico, Rodrigo. And I think we had somebody earlier who commented that it seemed like the only addresses were USA and Canada. So yeah, I think if you are if your billing address is anywhere else, you may have to use something else. Todd has asked a couple times, do you think anyone bought badges with no intention of going just to reserve a chance for 2023 at $150 price range? I am sure someone somewhere did, but I don't think it's going to be like mass amounts of people. And honestly, even if it was, I'm not really sure that Comic-Con cares because they still get the money.
Yeah.
I think like 50% of people would basically like have to buy a badge and then not go for them to start caring. But again, I don't think it's a widespread problem. I don't. I mean, technically San Diego Comic-Con could be the same thing. Like you could buy a one-day badge to be eligible for returning registration the next year for whatever reason. And again, I'm sure someone somewhere does that. But I don't think it's widespread. Nicholas asked, would you rather go for Marriott or Hilton near the convention center? They're both nice hotels. It really just depends on what you want. I mean, you really can't go that wrong with either. Okay, so Emilio asked, when I'm purchasing, it indicates the adult badge is free. Am I doing something wrong? You are not doing something wrong. It's a weird little quirk of the system. Once you click add to cart over on the sidebar on the right, it will then have a price attached. Karen, the link is not unique because you can just copy and paste that URL without the additional code.
So let's be clear. The link in your member ID and the email is not unique. It is unique once you are in the system.
Yes.
That's the difference.
Yes, the QID.
Yes.
At the bottom.
Yeah, but we all have the exact same link initially. Yeah.
So yes, you can share the link when this kind of a sale, you can share the link around. It's not attached to anyone specifically. It's just once you have it open, that's your unique session once you have a session going.
Yeah. So back to basically buying badges, but not actually using them. Jennifer asked, would those people who just bought badges have to activate it? I'm sure Comic-Con will be using RFID again. And so basically when you scan it, it will theoretically activate it, but Comic-Con International has thus far never used that to actually determine eligibility for returning registration. They've always stated that they reserve the right to change their minds, which I have always assumed basically means if enough people abuse it, then they will remove that functionality to where you don't have to scan it. But right now, you've never had to actually scan it to be eligible. You just have to have purchased the badge. And I think the reason they do that is because like they understand like sometimes stuff happens, like maybe like the day before the convention you had a death in the family so you couldn't attend, like stuff like that happens. They get it. So Nicholas asked, this won't disqualify me from 2022 when I bought a badge for 2020, right? Correct. Purchasing a badge today has no impact whatsoever on your San Diego Comic-Con 2022 badge. Literally none. All right.
So at this point, I mean, I think we're possibly not going to get a sellout today.
That's what I think. I mean, that's what I thought before we started. But yes. All right. So do we want to start wrapping it up?
I think so. I think that, I mean, so if you just tuned in, just rewind and you'll hear answers to lots of the questions you may have throughout the hour-ish that this has been going, so that and then also you can check out our site, sdccblog.com, and we'll have all kinds of answers there. Find us on Twitter, SD_comic_con. We have lots of questions answered there, and we will keep answering them. So, I mean, is there anything else? I think we've answered almost every question that people had.
The most asked questions are regarding the eligibility, and if they'll be mailed. They will not. You have to pick them up. Yes, it is $150 for all 3 days. You do not have the option to purchase just one day. And I think that's about it. Those are the most asked questions.
Yeah.
If you do have a burning question, please drop it in the live chat right now.
Yeah, or you can tweet us. I definitely check the Twitter. So does Aaron. We will start doing, we'll come up with a name for it, but we'll start doing whatever our version of Under the Tents is for this convention soon-ish. Because
should be under the turkey leg. Under the turkey wing, maybe.
we will come up with something fun. Yeah. So we will start doing that here in the next week or two, because I mean, really the convention is only about 2 months away. We're not far at all. So there should be lots of news here fairly soon. We will, do you want to commit to doing a panel podcast, James?
A panel podcast? Let's see what it is first.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
If it looks like there's actually going to be some problems getting from one thing to another, then we'll go in and talk about it and what we can expect for moving around at that convention. But I think at this point we're probably just going to maybe do a
wrap up.
We'll do a schedule post to point out highlights and things like that. But other than that, I think someone asked about when's the next podcast, and I think the next one won't be until next year for WonderCon at this point. Unless we feel like doing a wrap-up show. But we'll see how Comic-Con Special Edition goes.
I think we'll do a wrap-up show.
All right. So there you go. You'll be able to have another podcast for your ears at the end of November when we do a wrap-up for Comic-Con Special Edition.
Yes. But yes, so our normal coverage for San Diego Comic-Con will start basically whenever news for San Diego Comic-Con starts. There's not going to be any badge sales this fall.
Right.
So things will probably not really start for Comic-Con news until like February if they do early bird for hotels. That's really the next thing I would expect to hear about regular San Diego Comic-Con. So we are several months away from that. And then our regular podcast season for SDCC should start in May.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we'll do a couple of podcasts for WonderCon, pre and post.
Yes.
Then the usual May podcast for Comic-Con I think it's usually around 10 weeks of podcasts roughly leading up to it after 2 years of being monthly because of being online. So yeah, one more show this year and then we'll be back to normal. Everyone's fingers for back to normal-ish, I guess we can say, starting next year in the spring.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So thank you all for joining us. Good luck to anyone still getting tickets. Doesn't look like it's going to be an issue. Congratulations to everyone going. Thank you all for joining us for the last hour and a half or so while we watched this sale happen. It looked like it was pretty easy and a breeze. I think that's it. So
I think that's it.
Erin, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
You can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Bavarian Erin. Carrie, where can we find more of you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at Carrie Dixon. James, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
I am everywhere online at Dan Riegel, and you can also check out geekshotphoto.com for photography links for my wife and I. And speaking of my wife, thank you to Beth, the producer of this show. She will edit it and get it into your ears and all of those little things that get this done.
Yes, thank you, Beth. Yeah.
Thank you, Beth.
We are on iTunes. If you'd like to subscribe, the links are up on the blog, or you can search for SDConCast. If you like what you've heard so far, please review us. We are also on Stitcher Radio. The link is in the show notes. If you appreciate the service that we hopefully offer to you guys, please don't forget that we also have a Patreon, and that helps keep the lights on. Every dollar goes back into the blog, and we greatly appreciate the support, especially from our current Patreon subscribers, and especially to the ones of you who have joined us for the Hangouts the last 2 years. Those have been super fun. So thank you.
And if you want to get a hold of us, you can send us an email at sdcomiccon.blog@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/sdconblog, or tweet us at sd_comic_con. Thank you all for listening and watching, and everybody go
Shawarma.